Welcome to the first panel talk ahead at RAF Clearing Live, brought to you by Not Going to Uni, where we look at everything to do with why you should pick a career in the RAF, being joined by Stuart and Carrie from the engagement team here at the RAF. Firstly, happy results day. I hope it's gone all right. If it hasn't, do not worry, that is what we are here for. And today we're teaming up with the RAF to talk all about opportunities that might be available to you within the RAF, with a series of panel talks throughout the afternoon. Maybe results didn't quite go to plan today. Maybe you don't want to go to university, or maybe you do want a degree and university isn't the place you really want to get a degree. Well, if any of that chimes with you, you are in the right place. We're at RAF Cosford. My name is Harry Benjamin, and we're in this awesome hangar surrounded by Jaguar aircraft as well. It's a brilliant place to have our chats, and our first chat this afternoon will be all about why to pick a career in the RAF. And I'm very pleased to be joined by two officers from the Career Engagement Scheme, Carrie Moore and Stuart Mulligan. Firstly, thank you so much for taking the time to join me this afternoon. Carrie, you've got the mic in your hand first, so you're my first victim. Firstly, can you just say a little bit more about what you do and your day-to-day involves, and why you joined the RAF?
Well, thank you. I joined back in 1998, having gone to university, because at the time I wanted to do something with sport, wanted to travel, wanted responsibility, trained as a PE teacher, decided that actually teaching wasn't for me, looked into the armed forces at that point and realised that the RAF was the only one that offered me the opportunity to do the job. I joined as a physical education officer, and that was 24 and a half years ago. Obviously I still love it, I'm still here, still in uniform. Current day-to-day is community engagement, going into schools, going into colleges, going into community faith groups, just to let them know there's an opportunity for everyone, regardless of faith, background, colour of skin and age. Brilliant.
And same question for you, Stuart.
I joined the Air Force again in 1998, a very different time. I didn't really have a career path or anything when I joined the Air Force. I speak to a lot of people that know exactly what they want to do. I was not that person. Literally, I went to college, I did business and finance, and then I went to Wolverhampton University down the road from here and did a HND in business and finance, and I was working in a bank. And basically I was 22 years old and I was a bit bored, and I was sat in my office one day looking around thinking, on my days I'm going to be doing this for the next 40 years, I really don't fancy it. So an ex-girlfriend's dad had been in the Air Force, and he had some really cool stories about being in the Air Force, and she had tried to join the Air Force but failed the entrance exam a few times, and I'd helped her study. So I thought, well, I'll have a crack and see if I can join. So I didn't really have any family history in the Air Force. I found out later that an uncle had been in the Air Force, but I didn't know a lot about it, and it was through just sort of seeing the TV adverts and wanting to do something a bit less ordinary. So I fancied doing something a bit different. So that's why I joined, really.
And here you are, still here as well.
Yeah, again, 24 years later, I'm a cyberspace communication specialist by trade. I've come out of trade to come into schools as part of the careers team for 3 years to talk to education establishments and students about opportunities and about what we offer. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the minute anyway.
And so a lot of people watching this afternoon will be just getting their results, or have gotten their results. Maybe it's not what they wanted and they've had to suddenly change tack, or perhaps they've got no idea what they want to do and the RAF is something they've never really thought about before. What are the opportunities and some of the benefits available about looking into joining the RAF?
How long's the podcast? We've got quite a few.
You've got to do the sell.
For me, it's not a hard sell. It's I enjoy doing what I do. You know, going into schools, we don't collect data. I don't get paid anymore for people signing up. It's just answering questions. So for me, the roles in the Air Force, we have approximately 60 roles, and it's so wide and varied. Most people think the Air Force is about pilots. It is an important role. We do need them. Only about 2 or 3% of the RAF are pilots. We've got engineers, very heavy technical organisation. About 40% of the RAF are engineers. We've got £250 million aircraft we need to service and fix. So it's really important we have people coming in to do that. We also have photographers, musicians, physical training instructors, dentists, nurses, logistics. we've got a wide remit of roles, and they're all on the careers on the RAF website. You can have a look there and find which role's suitable for you. But for roles, pretty much everything, and it aligns to Civvy Street. So all of our roles and training, whether you join as an apprentice or you've got your A-levels and you want to look at the commissioning route, again, all this is on the website. There's lots of different avenues where people can come in, and it really depends on the level of education you have and the level you want to as well. But whatever level you come in at, the pay's pretty good, the training is excellent, and the benefits are just off the scale, really.
And we will be discussing more about what roles exactly are available in the upcoming panel talks this afternoon. But Gareth, I'll come to you for the next question. In terms of when you want to join the RAF and you're looking and you're weighing up the differences between maybe what is a university life, a university degree going to offer me compared to a life in the RAF. Obviously, I think a big draw perhaps for university is obviously a degree, but at the same time, perhaps the social life as well. How does that relate to the RAF? Do you still get a bit of a life?
You have a huge life. When Stu and I joined, it was definitely your way of life. It was a job, it was a career. You just increase your family and friends. So yes, you move away from home. That was something I really looked forward to. I actually really enjoyed it. But you stay in touch with your family, you stay in touch with your friends. But wherever you go, you increase your family and friends. And when you move bases, so on a posting, you make new friends, but you still, in today's technology, you've got FaceTime, you've got social media, you've got telephones and mobiles, so you can still stay in contact with your friends. And if anything, you increase the contact and network, really. So the social life, yes, we've got the junior ranks will have a mess, and they'll have what's known as BOP night, so it's disco night, so it's like a nightclub, they have a bar. We have the sergeants and warrant officers mess and the officers mess. Both of those will have dining in nights, which are just big functions, banquets. They'll have summer balls, they'll have Christmas draws, which is again like a winter ball. They'll have just great big five-course banquets, a bar, which is heavily subsidised. So yeah, the social life is absolutely brilliant.
And I think one of the main things I've picked up so far just from being here today and yesterday is that there's so much more that meets the eye to the RAF. There's, people may think, the main job is being a pilot, being in part of an aircraft, but it's not that. There is so much more. When you're going around chatting to people, young kids and older, what are some of the main myths you're trying to bust? Are there any ones that people may be watching now and thinking, well, I don't want to be a pilot, or maybe that's all I want to be?
Yeah, we're not just pilots in the RAF, as Stu said. We've got 59 other roles to pilot. Some of the myths is you'll not see your family and friends again. My very first time in this job, we had a seminar and we had a grandfather and his granddaughter came in, and his myth was he honestly thought that he would not see his granddaughter for 10 years, that she'd sign up and he wouldn't see her again. The fact that we showed them the accommodation, what sort they'd be living in, where they would be, the fact that they can go home at weekends outside of the training syllabus and still stay in touch, and he was like, where can I sign her up? So there's a lot of myths, but a lot of it is we're not all fighters. A lot of what we do is humanitarian aid as well. So yes, what you see in the media is we're going to war and everything, but actually what a lot of not in the media is all the humanitarian things that we do. And recently it's been closer to home, COVID. One of my team was seconded to South Wales for 5 months to help with the vaccination programme. Previously, my husband's been seconded to Cumbria, where he helped with the floods. We've had Odeon with Chinooks that were in Hebden Bridge when the dam broke. So it's all these, and not just the war. Yes, we're war fighters first, officers and aviators second, but a lot of it is the humanitarian and not just pilots.
And the other thing, I suppose, Stu, is that right now we're in the current world situation where we're most likely going to be entering a recession at some point soon. University, a standard university, costs a lot of money. People want to earn money. Is that something you can do straight off the bat if you join the RAF?
Yeah, definitely. Our starting salary, people can join the RAF from 16 up to age 47. So we take that wide age range because we need different people with skills and life experience. So our starting salary does reflect that as well, depending on your education level. Joining straight from school after 6 months could be earning £20,000 a year, which and that's with maths, English and a science GCSE, say. It's an engineer working on these aircraft. So that's your basic apprenticeship. You come in with A-levels, your starting salary could be £26,000. If you come in with an engineering degree, it could be up to 32, 33. So we do pay relevant to your education and your experience. But it's not also about the bottom line. And this is a big thing. We have a huge benefits package. And like our pension is non-contributory. So most other companies, if you pay 3% into your pension, the company pays 3%. The RAF pays all of our pension to us. Trying to get that across to a 16-year-old, they don't care. They don't care about the pension. But they do care about cheap living. You know, our accommodation, generally once you've on your first base, we aim for SLAM, as we call it, which is basically like a travel lodge or a Premier Inn room. It's not guaranteed, but that's the type of accommodation we aim for. So you get an ensuite room for about £100 a month. And that includes your council tax, includes your electricity and your gas. So when all these rates are going up in the RAF, it's, you know, you are subsidised. Free gym on every station, because you do have to be fit. We're not talking uber fit. I'm not particularly uber fit. I like Subway and things like that.
We'll get you running a bleep test straight away.
Or don't bleep test. But I enjoy spinning and things like that. So I do enough to keep my fitness level up to pass a fitness test every year. So because of that, the RAF gives you a free gym, and you'll be able to use it sometimes during work time. There's other benefits like free medical, free dental, and I know my wife, if she phones the dentist or the doctor, you know, it's a long waiting list to get in. If I need medical help, I'm in on one of our base medical centres within a few days and getting really good treatment and really well looked after. Mainly because they want to keep me fit so I can deploy. But also we do look after our people. And that benefits package, so I've only touched on it there. I haven't even talked about the adventurous training and all those opportunities you can do. But that's equivalent of about £10,000 a year. And for me as well, they're bringing in a new scheme where they'll contribute towards childcare. So, which is another help at the minute when bills are going up and up, and job security is massive as well. COVID's been some really hard times for some people, and people have lost their jobs, unfortunately. I don't think the RAF's ever made forced redundancies. We've had voluntary ones in the past, but that's usually with a very good package. But generally, we don't make people redundant. It's a very safe, secure job, which is really important at times like this.
Absolutely. I suppose you're earning straight away and you're getting benefits that are not just immediate, but they're for the long term as well. In terms of actual requirements, what are we looking for?
Again, it depends on the role. I know we'll talk about that a little bit later, but just for like a general overview, we take people with no qualifications right up to a degree. We're a big organisation, there's over 30,000 people. So we do need everyone. And say we need people, there's at least, I think there's 6 roles that require no formal qualifications. And then if you get your maths, English and science, it opens up to over 20 different apprenticeships that you can apply for. And when I'm in the schools and I'm talking to 14-year-olds and I'm saying, so how are you going to do on your exams? Are you going to get maths, English and a science at level 4 or above? Oh, I don't know. So if I give you £20,000, would that make you study more? And they're like, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You know, if you study hard and get these qualifications, you can join as an apprentice at that level. And all our apprenticeships are either sitting guilds or MVQ. They're all industry recognised, so they're fully transferable skills. And that's the big thing about our training. It is a really good provider. And
Carrie, Stu touched on it earlier as well in terms of, you know, obviously fitness is a key thing being part of the RAF. You don't have to be the fittest person when you join, but what are some of the personal traits that you might be looking out for or that are within people that might make joining the RAF a good fit?
I think we have a slide that we put up when we do careers presentations, and it's being part of a team, flexible, not flexible as in physically flexible, but flexible in terms of timings, anything can move, just being adaptable, enthusiastic, adaptability, a people person, because we do work, yes, there are times when we work on our own, but there are also a lot of times we work as a team. So being part of a team and being a team player is probably the most important I would say, traits that we have. But you don't have to be uber intelligent, you don't have to be uber fit. We will put you through all that. We will train you, give you the extra qualifications if needs be. So, yeah.
And in terms of time, how long are you on an apprenticeship for? And do they vary? Are you committed to being a part of the RAF for the rest of your life?
No, I think at 16, 18, it's quite daunting when you say that you're going to sign your life away for 12 years. That 12 years goes really, really quickly. As you can see, Stu and I have both been here for 24 years now, so it does fly by. The training is a minimum for the apprenticeship, is a minimum of 1 year, 1 day, and that fits in with Ofsted. So that's how we can offer apprenticeships. You are tied in for 2 years past the training, so a minimum of 3 years. But if you really don't like it, we're not going to hold you to ransom. We're not going to say, you really don't like it, you have to stay. There is a time when they can leave if it's really not for them, but there's not many that actually leave.
So although it may seem daunting, actually, it's no different to signing up to, medical school almost, and training for that length of time. You can always get out if it's not working out.
Yeah, not at all. We're not going to handcuff you to your desk and say you're staying in the RAF. It is an amazing career, and the 12 years flies by. It really does.
And in terms of being based somewhere, obviously there's multiple RAF bases around the UK, around the world. Where do you train? We're in this brilliant hangar right now at RAF Cosford, which is a training hangar. So there's a lot of training that happens here. But is it RAF Cosford, or are you moved about quite a lot? How does that work?
As it currently stands, basic training is at RAF Halton in Buckinghamshire. For the aviators, enlisted aviators. For commissioned aviators, it's up at RAF Cranwell in Lincolnshire. From there, it will depend on what role that they've joined as to where the training takes place. A lot of the training, as you've already said, takes place at Cosford, but we've also got Worthy Down, we've also got Cranwell. We've got various units depending on the role and what they join up as.
Amazing. And Stu, coming back to you, we were chatting earlier as well. You obviously go into schools, you're chatting for people sort of year 9 and upwards. What are some of the main questions you get asked? I know that's my job, but what are some of the main things that you get asked that maybe take you a bit by surprise?
It's different every time. That's part of why I love the job, really. Again, there's a lot of myth busting. People like talking, am I going to see my family again? For some people, that's a really good thing. They don't want to share a bedroom with their brothers and sisters anymore. They want their own space. But it is that, just talking about general life, and people ask me where I've been. I haven't travelled as much as some in my trade, but I've had the opportunity. I've lived in Cyprus. I've been to Tampa in Florida for a month, been to the Falklands for 8 months, spent a lot of time in the Middle East and stuff like that as well. So I've been places and seen things that I never would have had the opportunity to. And that's where I try and get across to kids when I'm talking. If you want to do a job, live round the corner from your mum and dad and see your family every day, that's great. It's some people, there's nothing wrong with that at all. If that's what you want to do it. But if you want different opportunities, if you want your company to support you when you go, like when I lived in Cyprus, we had a school on base for my kids. They paid for us all to fly. They paid for us to fly home once a year and give us extra money when we're out there because things are more expensive in the UK. If you want to live that life while continually being supported, it's great. And that's one thing I love. Generally, postings are 3 to 5 years at a base, and you can engage with your career managers now that will negotiate with you. And if you want to live in a certain area, they will help you do that as much as they can. So I generally get bored really easy. I like to move around every 3 or 4 years. So I've lived in lots of different places, and that's the good thing. If you're like that and you want to change jobs, you might have to leave your organisation and start again. Within the RAF, I'm going up through the rank structure. I'm carrying that experience with me. So wherever I'm moving, I'm maintaining my rank and my pay, and I'm going through that and still getting supported. So for me, it's moving around in the same company. With that, I've got that, I'm looked after, but at the same time, I've got that opportunity to try things that I never would have if I had stayed living in my hometown.
It's brilliant that the RAF gives you that flexibility as well. As you say, people want a lot of those things but don't want to suddenly give up their job and start from scratch again. You get to carry that momentum forward.
Yeah, and that is an important thing. Every And that's another, although we have 60 different roles, there's lots of different nuances within those. Like for me as a cyberspace communications specialist, my last job was maintaining the IT network for 1,500 people. Then I've also done jobs where I worked on all the airfield navigation aids in Cyprus. And before that, I worked on radar systems. So I got that base electronic education. And then if I need to go and work on a specialist piece of equipment, the RAF will pull me back here maybe, and I'll do a course for anywhere from 1 to 8 weeks learning that equipment, and then released on it to work on it in a safe environment. But yeah, it's continual learning, continuing investment, a continuing challenge. Let's say, going back to that sat in the same 4 walls, you know, processing bank applications, no thanks. You know, I like the opportunity to do something different, and I'm lucky I can do it in a safe environment where I'm well looked after.
Do you ever, will they get to a point maybe where you ever hit a glass ceiling? Is there only so far you can go within the RAF? Or maybe that's a bit of a tough question, but obviously the flexibility is a massive gauge of it, but people want to be able to move up the ranks and want to know, it's part of the incentive, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we are like every other organisation. We have a structure where you can go up through junior, middle management and senior management, but it really depends on what you want. Not everybody wants that. Some people are in it for the work and the fun aspects, like the adventurous training, and want to do that. For those, and it's different strokes for different people. Say we're a big organisation, and we will have some people that want to just, you know, go through the rank structure as quickly as they can. And if there's always opportunities to prove themselves, we get a report written on us every year. And in that report, that's where you get to put all your evidence of what you've done in that year. So there is plenty of opportunity for promotion, but likewise, if you don't want to get promoted, if you enjoy the level you're at, your pay still goes up for a certain number of years in that scale. Right. And to say, you are well looked after with that benefits package as well. So there is for both. You know, we've got very senior officers within the Air Force, but every rank can have lots of responsibility and things. So it just depends on what you want.
You mentioned that adventurous training a couple of times. Can we go a bit more into that and what exactly it involves? It sounds like you're selling it as a great benefit.
Again, it really depends on what
what role you're going for.
Well, not necessarily the role. It's any role has the opportunities to all the adventurous training. The RAF encourages you to do 2 weeks adventurous training a year. Give you an example, a couple of years ago, I was in Cyprus and I went on a week's adventurous training. 2 days, jumped out of an airplane, horrific, never doing it again, but at least I've done it and I know what it's like. I went scuba diving and I went mountain biking and sea canoeing. All that didn't cost me a penny. But it's better than that, I got paid to do it because I was doing it on work's time. We do that because it gives you confidence, it gives you better communication skills, it gives you the ability to push beyond your comfort zone. All those skills you take and you put into your primary job, which makes you better at your primary job. So that's why we do it. And as well, it's investing in the people. It's showing the people that we care about them and we want them to stay in. You know, the RAS probably invested tens of thousands of pounds in my training. They want to hang on to me, and money isn't enough for sometimes the things you're asked to do, the birthdays you miss, the Christmases you're away for. The money's not enough, so the other packages go towards making it a complete package, really.
Well, sign me up.
Still got time.
Although I've got a degree already, but you can still, of course, join if you've got a degree.
Yeah, definitely.
Carrie, coming back to you, because we've got about 5 minutes or so left of this first panel talk, but don't worry, we're here all afternoon with lots of panels all about the RAF and the various opportunities available. How long did you say you've been a part of the RAF for?
Just over 24.5 years.
So in that time, looking back, is there anything you wish you might have known before joining?
No, not actually. I didn't struggle with the transition from civilian life to military life. Everyone thinks it's really regimented. Obviously, they will have seen possibly the programs that have been done about the Army and the Navy on TV. Thankfully, the RAF haven't done one just yet. But it just shows you this the scaremongering out there of it's really regimented, it's really hard work. Yes, it is regimented, and yes, we are a military discipline, but actually the transition was really easy for me. I coped really well. I loved the PT sessions during initial training. So no, there was nothing there that I actually wish I'd have known.
Fair
There
enough.
might be now, but definitely wasn't then.
Might be now. So nothing you do differently either. I suppose part of the allure is it's something for a lot of people who are going from civilian life to something like this. It's a very different. It's a big life change.
It is a life change. If I did things differently, I'd probably come in through as an enlisted aviator and do the hands-on technical before going to management leadership straight away. But other than that, I don't regret any of my 24 years.
Oh, well, same question then to you, Stu.
Yeah, well, once again, I don't really have any regrets. Joining the military again, I kind of took to it, but my family didn't think I would. People think you have to be military to join the military, and it's really not true. I was untidy, I was always late, not a lot of get up and go, and that's my mum probably thought I'd last 2 weeks. But I just took to the structure of it. And the great thing I love about the Air Force is that if you're asked to do something, if time allows, it's explained to you why. So if you're asked to jump, this is what one of my first drill instructors said to me. In the RAF, we tell you how, we tell you to jump, we say how high, and then we explain why we want you to jump. And that's been the lesson for me. And that's something I've carried on through, that as long as it's explained to me why we're doing it and I can see the reason behind it, then yeah, it makes sense. And that's something I think with our organisation, it just rings true.
Well, look, it's been absolutely fascinating chatting to you in these early stages. You're going to stick around for our second panel as well, because we've talked a lot about what roles there might be, but we haven't gone into too much detail about them, but we will do the detail coming up, because there's so many opportunities, as you say. I suppose final sort of couple of questions. I know I teased already that might be in the final question, but it's not. One of the worries, perhaps, that younger people might think, and we've seen on social media, they ask the question, you sign up to the RAF, something happens in the world, are you going to be sent off straight away and enlisted and have to fight?
Well, one of the things that we talk about a lot is risk. I got asked this very question at a careers fair recently, and I was talking to a 15-year-old about this, and I said, right, so do you know how to cross the road? And they're like, yeah. So how? Tell me how you learned. Well, my mum and dad taught me how to do it, and I watched the video on how to do it. Said, so you were taught how to manage that risk. It's exactly the same in the Air Force. You do go into areas that do carry risk, but you're trained on how to do it. You'll never be sent anywhere without sufficient kit and training and support. So for me, it's all about managing risk, and the training we get allows us to deal with those situations.
And so one line then from both of you, it's coming back to the title of this panel, why pick a career in the RAF? If I can get it in a line.
Opportunities. Wide-ranging opportunities and a life less ordinary, I would say.
Carrie?
I guess to use the cliche, it's no ordinary job. No 2 days are the same. No 2 tours are the same. Yeah, no ordinary job.
If you want flexibility, something new, something different, something that's going to challenge you mentally, physically, the RAF sounds like the place to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For more information, head online and search RAF Careers, or you can go to our website, notgoingtouni.co.uk. I've been Harry Benjamin. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.